So tonight I wanted to go over releasing judgment and rejection. And this is going to be a short video, but it's a really important video and a concept that's important for you to really sit and take time with and practice this. Practice releasing judgment and any fears that you may have around rejection when it comes to the dating and courtship process, when it comes to relationships, and anything that you may be feeling that are shadows or inner girl challenges within yourself. The reason why I wanted to make sure that I highlight this, and this is something that's really, really important when it comes to the first 30 days of courtship, because I have seen how leading with judgment and operating in a place of fear when it comes to rejection, these two things tend to have the biggest hindrance on women being able to move past the first 30 days of courtship and actually attract a partner or get to that next courtship milestone. I have witnessed women get stuck in having just a few conversations, one or two in-person dates, or not getting past maybe 4 to 6 weeks, if even that long, because they simply have not allowed themselves to release judgment and to get out of the fear of being rejected or experiencing rejection. So if you have been stuck at the 0 to 30 day mark, or you find yourself having a lot of start and start relationships, you find yourself quickly dismissing men or quickly saying, no, I don't think he's the right fit. No, I'm not interested very early on before actually getting to know someone, then 9 times out of 10, you're leading with judgment. And you may also have a fear of rejection. So you reject before you get the opportunity to be rejected. So I'm going to talk all about that, because just by changing and shifting this one thing and stepping into a different energy when it comes to rejection and judgment, just by shifting this, it can make your courtship and dating experiences much lighter, much easier. It can allow you to navigate the courtship process with more ease and to get to the next milestone, which is 90 days or that actual commitment. So I don't want to see you stuck at the 30-day mark or prior to the 30-day mark because you are struggling with judgment and rejection. And this isn't just judgment about men, this is also judgment about yourself as well. So in order to shift out of judgment and fear and control and any feelings that you have around rejection, you have to step into an energy of compassion and curiosity. These are the big differences between the women who are able to build emotional connections and move into the commitment and attract the type of partner they want. They have to be emotionally available, which means that they have to lead with compassion and understanding. And they have to allow themselves to actually be curious about the men that they're meeting. That doesn't mean that every single man that you meet has to be a perfect fit. It doesn't mean that every single man that you meet has to be the one. It doesn't mean that you have to like every single man that you meet. But allowing yourself to actually be curious about the process, curious about the men that you meet, and curious about yourself, because obviously you don't have all the answers. You haven't figured it out yet if you're still trying to figure out how to get past a certain stage of your love life. So instead of being like the judge and executioner of the men that you're meeting, allow yourself to lead with more understanding and compassion. Allow yourself to be more curious about them and be genuinely curious. You can learn something from every single man that you meet. You should be able to have a cup of coffee with every single person that you come across. And if you are genuinely curious, not only are you going to be able to make some new connections, but you're also going to be able to practice the relationship skills that you need in order to be a compassionate and curious type of wife. And that's ultimately what you want. The relationship skills that you develop now will benefit you in the long run. So if you're leading with judgment and you're leading with harshness or control or fear or any of those lower value emotions and those survival mode emotions, then even if you were to attract a partner, those things are still going to be present in the relationship. And that's not the quality of relationship that you want. So allow yourself to step into a place where you are putting yourself in the position to actually connect with how others may feel before you're judging them, before you're dismissing people or making any harsh decisions very early on before actually getting to know them and understanding and asking deeper questions. Allow yourself to actually connect with how others feel, and allow yourself to have a greater desire to learn more about others. Again, it's about having genuine curiosity and really just asking deeper questions from a place of curiosity and not judgment. So this means that you have to use your voice in order to be more compassionate and curious. Many women who are stuck prior to the first 30 days, they have a hard time getting past that hump, or they have a hard time building good quality emotional connections with men. They oftentimes don't use their voice. They're used to blocking or ghosting or just quickly ending conversations when they feel uncomfortable, or they lead with judgment. So they're all in their head and they're not in their hearts and in their bodies when they're making connections. So they're thinking about all these negative things or past experiences, or why would he do that? Or why would he say that? And they're all in their head creating all these thoughts that's triggering a lot of uncomfortable emotions and a lot of low value emotions, because they're simply not using their voice and asking more questions and being compassionate and practice communicating their emotions and how they feel and how the experience and what they're learning about the other person is making them feel as well. They're not practicing being genuinely curious. So you want to activate a childlike curiosity about the men that you're meeting, about the courtship process, which should allow you to bring stuff to coaching, to ask questions in coaching, bring questions to call, post in the community, because you don't have all the answers and you want to be really, really curious about how you can be better. Be curious about what you're experiencing. And most importantly, be curious about yourself, about your reactions, about your triggers, about your thoughts, about your emotions. Be curious about those things so that you are actually growing and becoming better. So many times women have a hard time with judgment and rejection because of boundaries. They may fear having too much compassion or being understanding or being vulnerable or allowing themselves to make connections, because they worry that if they do this and they start to like the person, or if they allow themselves to build a connection with someone who may not be the perfect fit in every single way, that this may lead them to making decisions where they will lack boundaries. So if you fear being compassionate or being curious will lead you to make bad decisions, it's because you lack boundaries. And that's a trust issue that you have within yourself, which goes back to you allowing yourself to actually voice how you're feeling, voice your emotions, ask deeper questions, and to also express boundaries so that you're setting and keeping boundaries. Because when you build that trust muscle within yourself and you're allowing yourself to set boundaries and to communicate that, not from a cold and rigid and firm and harsh place, you want to be warm and yet so firm at the same time. So by allowing yourself to set boundaries and to allow yourself to be able to draw those lines when you're uncomfortable and express those emotions, you will build more trust within yourself. And the more you build that trust muscle within yourself, the deeper you connect to your feminine intuition. And the more you connect to that intuition, the easier it will be for you to guide yourself through the dating and courtship process, and to feel really confident that you're making high quality relationship decisions because you trust yourself to be able to do so. You trust yourself to be able to set boundaries. You trust yourself to be able to walk away when something is not right or it's not a good fit, or you experience any type of red flags or disrespect. And you trust yourself to be able to make connections from a very vulnerable and heartfelt place without getting deeply attached to a man where you are anxiously attached and you're lowering your value. So boundaries are important. Now, when it comes to rejection, if you have a fear of rejection, this means that you don't trust the process and believe in the inevitability of being able to attract the type of relationship and the type of partner that will be good for you. So here's the thing, and this is where you have to tap into your spiritual aspect of the dating courtship process. Whatever your spirituality is, I really don't care. That really doesn't matter. But whatever you use as your spiritual source, whatever that source is, you have to be able to build that trust muscle within that source, which means that if you truly trusted the process and you truly trusted that the relationship that you want, as long as you're doing the work, as long as you continue to move forward, as long as you continue to meet men and you're developing the relationship skills and the mindset that you need in order to be aligned with the type of relationship that you want, then having that relationship becomes inevitable. You have to believe that. You have to ignite a strong belief that there's no way that you are stepping into that best version of yourself. You're getting coached, you're asking questions, you're doing the inner work, you're allowing yourself to show up and to be present in your love life. You're continuing to grow, you're continuing to align with the type of relationship that you want. Right now, you may not be where you need to be to attract that relationship, but if you keep doing the work and you keep moving forward and you keep stepping into that best version of yourself, where you are aligning yourself with the type of relationship and the type of partner that you want, then of course the outcome is inevitable. It's not a matter of if, but a matter of when, right? But if you don't believe that, then you're going to operate from a fear of rejection because you don't trust that it's actually going to happen, which means that you won't trust the process. And then you'll believe that every single man that you come across has the power, the ability to crown you as the one. But if you believe that you were already a wife and you believe that the best partner for you is already waiting for you, you just have to meet them, which means you just have to keep going forward. Would you still operate in a place of fear? Would you still fear rejection? That's an important question for you to ask yourself, because if you truly believed in the inevitability of it all, and you truly trust it, that it's available to you, and you already believe that you're already a wife, you're just doing all the preparation, you're just preparing yourself for the relationship that you want, and you're aligning yourself, you're in the process right now of aligning yourself with the type of relationship, you are getting yourself to where you need to be, because obviously there's something better and greater waiting for you, or else you would have already had it. And because there's something better and greater waiting for you, the best is yet to come. Your only job is to meet them. If you believe that, then the men that are not compatible, the men that are not aligned, the men that are not ready, it's a gift to you. They're moving themselves out the way so that you can keep moving forward to the person that you want to meet. There is no such thing as rejection. It's just this person is the right fit or they're not. That's it. This person is aligned with you or they're not. It's as simple as that. And you don't want to get hung up on the person who's not a good fit. Why would you ever get hung up on the person that's not a good fit, the person that's not ready? No matter how you have conceived this person in your mind to be, you may have said to yourself, oh, he's so handsome, he's so great, he has all the things, I would love for him to be the one. But if he's not the one, why would you want to hold on to him and allow that person to take up space when you need to have space available for the right one to come through? So you have to adopt the belief in the inevitability so that you're building your trust muscle in this process. You have to trust your journey. You have to be excited about your journey. You have to be excited about your future and allow yourself to be excited about the men that you're meeting, because every single man that you come across has been sent to you to teach you a lesson. Every single man that you meet, whether it's one conversation, one text message, whether it's a 30-day courtship to 90 days or actual commitment, every single man that you come across has been sent to you to teach you a lesson. And you can choose today, you can choose to believe that every single man that you meet has been sent to you to teach you something about yourself. It's not about the men. Everything that you do in this journey is about your own healing, your own development, your own preparation for the type of relationship that you want. And the faster you are willing to go through that and to accept that and to embrace that and to allow yourself to get in alignment with the type of woman that you need to become to attract the type of relationship that you want, the faster you're going to grow into that relationship. But you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable enough to be seen and to be heard and be willing to adjust and to grow. There's growth for you in this. So every single message, when you feel triggered, when you feel anxious, when you feel rejected, that is an opportunity for you to grow. That is an opportunity for you to either bring that to coaching, to post in the community, or to go back through the modules and do the inner work and figure out, where is this coming from? Why am I reacting this way? Why am I struggling with these thoughts? What is going on in my life? What is this person teaching me? I'm attracting these many types of experiences. What lesson is being sent to me that I need to learn about myself in this process? You need to be curious about yourself. This is more about you than anyone else. When you make that decision that every single man that you meet has been sent to you to teach you a lesson, you will become so connected with your feminine intuition. You will become so connected with your trust muscle. You will find so much beauty in this journey instead of making it hard and heavy. You will allow yourself to accept every single challenge as a part of the process because it's only bringing you closer to who you need to become. This is an opportunity. Every single part of this process is just calling you to step into that best version of yourself. It's calling you to actually address those things that are going on within, those childhood wounds, those past relationship traumas, all of the things that you experience that's causing you to shrink in your worthiness. Every single experience you have is calling you to step into a higher version of yourself, for you to actually own your value and your worth and allow you to align with that. But when you're focused on rejection and judgment and control and fear and all those survival mode emotions, then you're not going to be your best and most authentic self, and you're not going to take opportunities for you to step into a better version of yourself, because you're going to look at everything as a sign that you're not good enough and you're not worthy, or that there's something wrong with you. When instead, you have to challenge yourself to say, what is this person coming to teach me, and how do I need to grow from this? And when you allow yourself to be genuinely curious about yourself in this process, and genuinely curious about the dating and courtship process, then it's going to be able to send you so much transformation at a faster time, because everything is for your own good. Everything is for your own good. It's always an opportunity for you to step into a better version and really own your worthiness. It's always calling you to say, are you going to settle for that old you? Are you going to settle for those old patterns? Are you going to let that little girl in you run the show? Or are you going to step into your worth and trust that the relationship that you want is available to you? And most importantly, and the last thing is, let the wrong men move themselves out of the way. I always like to use the cashier analogy that I use for this program, which is, if you were a cashier and you're in the checkout line, you're in control of this checkout line, and you have someone that's at the register and they're fumbling over change, and they're fumbling over getting out their credit cards and their debit cards and their coupons, and they're trying to count exact change, and they can't figure out how to check out. It's all this drama being created. It's all this hesitation. It's all this stalling. You have two choices. You can either let that man continue to stumble with trying to check out and trying to figure it out, and he's not ready and he's not prepared, and you can obviously see this. You can either let this person hold up the line, or you can ask him to step aside and let the next person come through. Because the longer that you allow this person to take up space, that line behind him is getting longer and longer and longer. And the person that's ready to check out may not be the person after him. It may not be the person after that person. It may not be the person 5 people down. The person that you may need to get to may be 20 spots down the line. But the longer you let this person who's not ready and can't figure it out, the longer you let this person take up space in the line, the longer it's going to take you to get to guy number 20. So you need to get very good at discerning how to, yes, give someone an opportunity, and to be curious, and to be compassionate, and to lead with understanding, while at the same time having boundaries. And going through this process, how we teach you in the CCC process, so that you can confidently say, hey, it's great. I know that you want to check out, but I need you to step aside so the next person can come through. Because you have to keep going through that line and keep moving forward. And then getting to number 20 is inevitable. So you have to develop that type of mindset, especially when it comes to rejection. You want the wrong men to move themselves out the way. And the faster that they move themselves out the way, the faster you get to the relationship that you want. But you don't want to do this in a way that you are leading with judgment, where you're blocking your own opportunities to build relationship skills that builds connection and allows you to get through the first 30 days. So just recapping: judgment and rejection, fear of rejection, control, and leading with judgment these are the top reasons why women will have a hard time getting past the first 30 days. You're being a harsh judge of the men that you're meeting. You're having a harsh judge of yourself in this process, and you're having a harsh judge of your own desirability and thinking in low value ways. I have seen in my years of being in the relationship industry and working with men and women, but particularly women, most of the time, those who are struggling with judgment in this process, a major part of that is they're a harsh judge of themselves. They are very, very judgmental when it comes to themselves. They have a lot of negative thoughts, a lot of negative emotions, and how they perceive themselves. And because of that, they project that judgment onto others. A great example of this is I had a client one time who she used to say that she realized in coaching that she used to always say things like she didn't like it when people shared their opinions. She was such a harsh judge of other people sharing their opinions. Oh, they always have something to say. They always have an opinion. They always want to share. But then after doing the inner work and working on her own triggers and her shadows, she realized that the reason why it triggered her so much when other people would share their opinions was because she was so uncomfortable with communication and sharing her own opinion. And because she was so uncomfortable sharing her own, it triggered her, and she would project that judgment and that fear onto others that they also shouldn't be comfortable with sharing their opinions. So if you have a hard time, that's just one example, but if you have a hard time with judgment, let's say you're judging men about their past, but you also hold a lot of shame and guilt around your own past, it's not saying that you cannot have boundaries or you cannot have desires, but you want to get to the root of where is the judgment coming from, because you should be able to connect with others without having harsh judgments, without fear, without control, without being the judge and executioner of their value, and still be able to set boundaries and make decisions about if they're a good fit or not without being attached to a particular outcome. So after you watch this, you can also go into the modules, watch the 3 or 30 rule, because that is also going to be a great video. It's in phase 1, step 3, first 30 days. That is also going to be a great video to watch after this, because in that video, it talks about how to release some of that judgment so that you understand how to make decisions in the first 30 days so that you're giving yourself the opportunity to actually be pursued and to actually go through the process, giving yourself an opportunity to make connections and move to that next courtship milestone.